The planet wasn't supposed to exist. Not like this. Captain Lorien Voss stared at the data screen, his breath slow, measured. The system was long forgotten, an entry buried in ancient archives. A cradle world lost to time. But the readings were impossible to ignore. Class 10 Deathworld. Extreme volatility. A nightmare to any species unfit to endure. The atmosphere churned with violent storms, magnetic pulses scrambled sensors, and something, many things, moved in the darkness below. The ship's AI chimed. Planetary designation matches with Sol 3. Pre-Union records indicate this was Earth. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Earth was a myth, a casualty of its own violent history. The wars had turned it into a wasteland unlivable. No one spoke of it. No one searched for it. And yet there it was. A decision had to be made. The official doctrine was clear: no unnecessary risks. The ship's analyst, a Korean named Selvek, adjusted his translator implant. The planet is hostile. Recommend immediate withdrawal. Voss didn't respond. He was human, one of the few among the crew. The idea that his species' homeworld had been left behind to rot, only to be rediscovered as something to fear, unsettled him. We go down, he said. The descent was brutal. Turbulence slammed the hull as atmospheric pressure fluctuated wildly. Lightning cracked across the sky in jagged, unnatural formations. Readings spiked erratically. Gravity was heavier than standard human adaptation, pulling at their bones, testing their endurance. Through the viewport, the planet loomed, not a dead world, but a savage one. Thick, gnarled forests stretched across ruined cities, vines and steel intertwined as if the earth itself had reclaimed what humanity left behind. Rivers churned dark and fast, carving through the terrain like wounds. And in the distance, just beyond the storm-choked horizon, lights flickered. Not fires. Not natural phenomena. Signs of civilization. The shuttle touched down in the ruins of what might have once been a city. The air was heavy, thick with something more than humidity, an unseen presence, a weight that pressed against the mind. Weapons were drawn. Scanners activated. Every survival instinct screamed to retreat. Something was watching. The first sound came from the trees, not an animal. A whisper. Then, from the shadows, they emerged. Humanoid. Tall, broad-shouldered, wrapped in worn leathers and armor forged from something that gleamed too dark to be metal. Their faces were marked, scarred, hardened by a world that tolerated no weakness. Their eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, predatory and unblinking. They did not speak at first. They simply observed. Then, one stepped forward. His voice was rough, the words twisted from centuries of isolation, but unmistakable. You left. Silence. The survey team stood frozen, realization dawning like a slow, creeping horror. This wasn't just a death world. It was still human. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating. The team had no words. The figures before them, human unmistakably so, stood unmoving, their expressions unreadable. Captain Voss steadied his breath. The man who had spoken was different from the rest. Older, taller, his posture too controlled, too deliberate. His skin was a map of old wounds, his hands calloused from a lifetime of survival. The translator struggled with his words, distorting them before stabilizing. You left. We remained. The implications hit hard. These weren't lost colonists. They were the ones who never left. Selvek's scanner hummed, trying to process the impossible. His mandibles twitched, voice tight. They shouldn't be alive. Not here. Not like this. The leader's gaze flicked toward the device, then back to Voss. Weak things need machines. We do not. The others behind him moved with eerie precision. No wasted steps. No nervous shifts. Predators, not prey. Voss took a step forward, every instinct telling him to be careful. We thought Earth was gone. That it was dead. The man, Eric the Ashborn laughed, but there was no humor in it. Then you were fools. His people surrounded them, no weapons drawn, yet exuding something far more dangerous. Absolute certainty in their own dominance. Voss tried to keep his voice steady. How? How did you survive? Eric's expression hardened. Survival is for the weak. We conquered. We adapted. We became more. The team's medic, Joran, muttered under his breath. Their physiology, it's different. And it was. Their lungs pulled in the thick air with ease. Their bodies bore no protective suits, no filters, no enhancements. Yet they thrived where others would perish. Evolution in real time. Selvek's unease was palpable. Their resilience is unnatural. Eric's stare turned to him, sharp, unreadable. Unnatural? A slow, deliberate pause. Your kind would not last a day here. The truth was undeniable. These humans were no longer the same species as those who had fled into the stars. They had been reforged in fire, in struggle. And they saw the off-worlders as something less. Voss exhaled slowly. We didn't come here as enemies. Eric tilted his head. That remains to be seen. A sound cut through the air, deep, resonant. A horn. The Deathworlders stiffened. Their gazes lifted to the sky. The survey team followed their eyes, and their blood ran cold. Lights. Ships. Descending fast. Eric's expression darkened. You led them here. The sky burned. Shadows fell across the land as warships tore through the atmosphere, their engines howling like dying beasts. The survey team scrambled, weapons drawn, but it was already too late. The enemy had arrived. Voss didn't need confirmation. The design of the ships was unmistakable. Zalari Dominion. A race that thrived on expansion, on conquest. They had followed the survey team's trail, and now they had found something worth taking. Eric didn't move. His people stood motionless, their eyes locked on the descending fleet. No fear. No panic. Just a quiet, measured stillness. Voss activated his calm. Union Command, we've been compromised. Zalari forces inbound. We need immediate evac. Static. Joran cursed. They're jamming us. Selvek's claws clenched around his scanner. They'll assume we're stranded. That means they'll take their time. Voss turned to Eric. We have to move. If they set up a perimeter, we'll be trapped. Eric finally looked at him. You misunderstand. His voice was calm. They are the ones who are trapped. The first Zalari dropships broke through the cloud cover, deploying in tight formation. A perfect, calculated invasion. Voss had seen this before. First, they'd establish control. Then, they'd cleanse the area. But something was wrong. They landed. Their troops poured out. And then, nothing. No gunfire. No explosions. Just silence. The jungle swallowed them. The terrain shifted, twisted. The ground beneath their feet had changed, as if the planet itself had woken up. Eric's people watched. Waiting. Then it began. From the treeline, figures erupted. Not beasts, not soldiers, but hunters. They moved with terrifying precision, hitting hard, fast, before disappearing again. The Zalari barely had time to react before their formations collapsed. Panic spread through the invaders' ranks. Their weapons, their armor, useless. Their technology meant nothing when the enemy didn't fight like an enemy. One by one, the Zalari fell. Not to bullets, not to energy weapons, but to hands, to knives, to the sheer overwhelming force of something far older than war. Voss watched in stunned silence. This wasn't battle. This was slaughter. The Zalari commander's voice crackled over intercepted comms, a desperate, alien shriek. Fall back! Fall back! But there was nowhere to run. Eric exhaled, slow and measured. They always break. Voss turned to him, disbelief clear in his voice. How? Eric met his gaze. Because we are human. The battlefield was silent. Not with peace, but with the absence of survivors. The Zalari had come expecting conquest. They had found something else entirely. Voss lowered his weapon. There was no need for it. The Deathworlders had not just fought. They had ended the war before it began. The jungle was slick with alien blood. The bodies of the fallen were left where they lay, not out of cruelty, but indifference. The Deathworlders had no need to revel in victory. To them, this had not been war. It had been correction. Selvek stood rigid, his mandibles twitching in what Voss recognized as unease. Your people. He trailed off, unable to find the words. Eric stepped over a dying Zalari, his expression unreadable. They were not prepared. That is not our fault. Voss felt the weight of the moment press against his chest. This wasn't just about survival. This was a revelation. For centuries, the Galactic Union had believed humanity had evolved beyond its origins, that it had shed the brutality of its past in favor of civilization. But Earth had never changed. Only those who left had. And now, the truth could not be ignored. Joran whispered, almost to himself. If the Union finds out about this. Eric turned to him, gaze sharp. They will. Voss met his stare. And what happens then? A long pause. Then Eric spoke. That depends. The Deathworlders moved through the wreckage, untouched by the devastation they had wrought. To them, this was not an end. It was simply another day. Voss exhaled slowly. The choice was clear. They could leave, report what they had seen, and watch as the Union struggled to decide whether Earth was an ally or a threat. Or they could bury the secret, pretend it had never happened, and hope the stars never saw what had been left behind. Eric watched him, waiting. Voss knew then that the choice had never really been his. Earth had already made its decision. The galaxy would learn the truth soon enough.